Welcome back, everybody, to With Priscilla podcast. Today, I have such a special guest, Darwin Patterson. And if you watch NASCAR, then I'm sure she's a familiar face to you. And before anything, I want to give a good shout out to WISE. It's Women in Sports and Entertainment or Events. They pulled off such a beautiful event. It was called Women Behind the Wheel NASCAR panel, and you were one of them. And it was a panel of amazing women who are all the background is in NASCAR, which I think it's so amazing because when you think of NASCAR, you think of men,
Right,
probably because of the drivers
right,
and the
right.
cockpit crew. Like
Yeah.
you, majority of the time you see men. So it was so pleasing to see a group of women, strong women, just speak so confidently, naturally about what each of you do and all that you have done with the NASCAR San Diego, which, by the way, everybody over here raved about it. And
Love
it
to
was
hear it.
so fun. I personally, I didn't go. My husband and I watched it at home. We thought it was so cool just to see the skyline and see parts of the aerial view of the city. So altogether, so neat. And we heard so many good things. And then we heard that it's going to be a reoccurring yearly thing now too.
I don't know that it's finalized. I
Okay.
think we would all love that,
Okay.
and I wanna say thank you so much to the San Diego, like, community and the base and why everyone was just so welcoming from I think from this very start of the conversations, so it's great to hear. You never know how it's gonna go, right? You never know how it's gonna be perceived and how, the base would've, you know, impacted a lot of their operations, obviously the city, the bridge, all the things, right? So you don't know how people are going to take it. So it's good to hear that overall, I think everybody had a good time and everybody
Oh my God.
loved to
Yeah.
have us come back. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Such a good time. And I know people are eager, especially Coronado's eager to see you guys back over there too. So
Big fan.
that's great.
San Diego was never on my list of places to like. And I've heard good things, right? I've seen, heard about the zoo on Madagascar, right? But it was never being from Florida, like, it's just not on my list of places to go visit. But now I'm telling everybody, like, y'all gotta go to San Diego. We gotta go to like, I'm trying to figure out how I can like buy a house on the island, which I cannot. Um,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
but it was just I had a blast. All my visits there. The weekend was phenomenal. So yeah, that's awesome to hear.
And I think you guys scheduled it at the perfect time because had it had it been like now, oh my gosh, like tourist season is just
Oh,
so
okay.
I we were there over the weekend and it was crazy. So you guys picked it like just the right time, everything and with the weather, all of it. You couldn't have picked put put it at another better
On a better
time.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
We are jealous of y'all's weather. I've been out there different times of the year, over the course of the year. And every single time I was like, "This is fantastic." I was a little chilly at times just because 'cause I'm not used to being chilly in, certain parts of the certain times of the year. But no, the weather phenomenal. Big fan.
Yeah.
You guys
Although it's a little humid, but I know it's nothing compared to
Yeah, I can
anywhere.
show you humid. I can show you I just opened the window over there and I can show you some
Oh my
humidity.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just formally introduce you. So this is Darwin Patterson, as I've said. You are the senior manager of series event operations at NASCAR. So cool. Like such a cool title. Even with your resume signature, like so cool just to have that logo.
Well, it's good. I'm glad that it looks like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just from an outside perspective, like, oh, that's so cool, to have that as your signature. Darwin is the ultimate orchestrator, as you've called yourself, orchestrating of NASCAR's biggest moments, from running victory lane celebrations to managing operations for major races, including the one we just spoke about, the San Diego event, and countless other series weekends. So, I've heard you called yourself a controlled chaos
Yes.
type
Yeah.
role, and you bring incredible insight from the front lines of live event execution at the highest level because there's nothing higher than NASCAR right there. So I want to hear like from the beginning, what was Darwin as a little girl, and, like, how did this NASCAR like, were you always in sports? Like me, I only have brothers, so naturally, I had no choice, and then naturally, organically, I just grew to love
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
So, was that you? Like, tell me who you were as a little girl.
Absolutely. Yeah. So surprisingly, I am not the only girl. I have 4 younger sisters, and I'm the oldest.
Wow.
Um, but I was always into sports. Sports is what I knew. No matter what I did, sports was going to be involved in my career. My grandmother and my mother both are females who are very much into sports. At times, I'll call my grandma right now, and she's watching a football game, and I'm not watching it. I'm watching Real Housewives, right? So like sports has just always been a part of our household. Big football fans being here, well, there in Gainesville, Florida, University of Florida. I just knew that that's something that I always wanted to do. And then motorsports, I got my first dirt bike when I was 8 years old. Um, so I
Wow.
grew up just being just immersed in all the sports, in motorsports. My dad, a long time ago, uh, drove like he was a deputy. They had the Beat the Heat car, which was NHRA. So he did a lot of drag racing with that vehicle.
Wow.
He grew up on motorcycles himself. So like motorsports has been my thing. You know, some people love roller coasters and skydiving and all those other types of adrenaline rushes. Myself, I love the aspect of like going fast, driving fast, you know, doing things that are a little bit pushing it to the limits in terms of motorsports. So that's how I would say I got my my will for being in sports. It's just really from
And
being at home.
And you never thought about pursuing that? Like
Driving?
you being
Yeah.
behind yeah.
No, I really didn't. I now looking back at it, I do drive, we have pace car rides, that we give to our sponsor guests and our, you know, high-end guests. We'll do those, every weekend at the racetrack. So I've been in, you know, I've been driven Corvettes, I've driven Mustangs, I've driven them all around the racetrack, the majority of our racetracks, and I will say, and not to toot my own horn, that most guests get out of the car and they're like, "Are you a driver?" And no, I'm not, and, so I've gotten a lot of times where I'm like, "You know, dadgummit, I really should have probably looked at, being a driver of some sort back in the day," but, you know, that those guys are athletes and girls, you know, that requires a lot of from really I mean, they start really early, you know, 5 years old, they're out there, in micros and dirt track racing and things like that, so it just requires a lot of, training and preparation for that and dollars and all the things that, like, it just was never it never crossed my mind. So maybe if I were, maybe 10 years younger now, maybe I would look into doing it now that I at least know the resources and how to get started, but I'll just stick to drive around the racetrack and just be in Darwin at this point, so,
I
yeah.
know, I mean, you don't have a bad job, so I feel like you win either way.
Yeah. It keeps me on my toes. It is a good job, and, I love my NASCAR family. We really are, like I said, in San Diego, you know, we really are a tight-knit group. There's not many sports like ours, so, once you're in, and everybody becomes family, and sometimes you don't like your family, but you guys are family, and you operate, and, you get things done over the course of the week and the weekend, and really the entire year, right, to make the organization work, so, yeah.
I love that. And so can you tell me, um, teenage, preparing for college, because I know you shared some of your story at the WISE event. Can you kind of share a little bit of that, of, what you majored in,
Yeah.
all of that?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm from Gainesville, Florida. I knew that I only wanted to go to the University of Florida. That's just
Not a bad
instilled
school?
just instilled in me, right? So I grew up 10 minutes down the road from the university. Um, so I was blessed enough to be able to go to school there. You know, in high school, I get like I said, I knew I wanted to do something in sports, but I just didn't really know what it was. But I knew as I went on in my career in high school, like I just always had this uh, ability to make people laugh and like talk to people and converse with people and all the things. And, you know, I was never really shy on camera. So I was like, you know, let me just go interview the people, right? Like, let me go interview the athletes. So at the time, you know, Aaron Andrews was really um, motivational for me. And ironically, Aaron Andrews went to school at University of Florida as well. So I did some research. UF has a great program in sports broadcasting. So that was what my major was. Um, So I just wanted to be on the sidelines. I had big aspirations to do it for doing that. I knew that it would take time to get to that point, and that doesn't happen overnight. Lots of internships, lots of smaller gigs. Um, but then as I went on in my career at UF, once I got through the program, I mean, it was a great program, by the way. Like we were able to do all the things. Like they had a 5 o'clock newscast, so I was essentially the sports anchor for that show. We were able to be beat reporters and go to all the sporting events and be on the sidelines and do the interviews and go to the press conferences throughout the week. Um, so I was able to get like the at least from the local news channel aspect of things, I was able to get that experience there at UF, which I'm super grateful for. But over the course of the program, the industry kind of changed a little bit where you saw um, say Fox News or Fox Sports or ESPN, all of those commentators or analysts now are former athletes, right? You want to see Tom Brady versus Darwin Patterson. You want to see Eli Manning
Mm,
or you want to see Peyton Manning. You want to see those guys, and that's totally understandable.
okay.
But that just made for a tougher opportunity for folks like myself, which it was already a tough field to break into. So you factor in uh, Gronk, right, or
Pros.
anybody, right? Anybody
Yeah.
that's former athletes or Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers are now getting into that space. That just filled up that space from where we were not really able to break into that as easy as we thought we would be able to. And it was tough, right? And I told all of my if I talk to high school students, if I talk to college students, for me, and I think times have changed over the course of the years, but like for me, I thought you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, you go to great college, you graduate, you get a job. So that's what I was expecting, right? And that's not really exactly how that panned out. I graduated from UF in 2017 in December, and I had a couple of great interviews. I interviewed with the Saints, I interviewed with Oklahoma City Thunder, um, and then but I wasn't landing anything. And I actually had an interview with NASCAR, um, with another department that I'm from what I am in now, and I made it down to the last two people. They picked someone else, but then they called me back and they're like, "Hey, would love for you to be an intern of ours." And so I took that as okay, great. Like I made it far enough along in the interview process full time. I'm gonna go show them what I can do as an intern, and I'm gonna get this job. And so I moved my stuff up from Gainesville to Charlotte, North Carolina, in hopes, and dumb me, but I moved everything, thinking that I was gonna just get the internship, get the job, and life would be great. Internship was great. I loved my time there. Um, didn't really pan out that way. Internship ended. Um, wasn't back on full time. I've heard rumblings of hiring freezes and things like that. And obviously now that I can see it from the other end of it, like those things do happen. Um, but then I stayed there for a couple of months just to try and like hopefully land something with either with NASCAR or with some of the teams in the area. It didn't pan out that way either. So then like end of September came and birthday had passed in September. And at this point, I'm just like homesick, not landing anything. I'm just down on myself. I'm confused as to like why I'm not landing anything. So went back home to Gainesville. Still was optimistic. I left all my stuff in Charlotte in hopes that I would get the call back at some point. Um, didn't pan out. I ended up having to I nannied a lot, which I love my time nannying. I did that all throughout like high school and everything. Babysat, and then but like that just wasn't consistent, right? Consistent money throughout the week. So then I had to go work at a credit union locally in town. And I was like selling credit cards and refinancing car loans and trying to have people get personal loans and all the things. Just it just wasn't what you thought you'd end up be doing. So did that for a year and a half, and then luckily, someone within the industry remembered me from my internship and sent me a job posting with NASCAR. Had operation. It was named something different at the time, but it had operations in the title. And I'm like, I don't know anything about operations. Right now I'm at the credit union, and before that, I was trying to be on air. So I don't know anything about this, but I knew had to be a whole lot better than refinancing car loans, or not better, but just more like
What you would want.
what I would want to be doing, right? So I took that opportunity. Surprisingly, that was in 2020 when everyone was losing jobs, right? And just
Mhm.
confused. I actually was able to land a job
It
in
wa
2020. And that was end of that season. That was in November, and then I had my first season in 2021, and I'm still here. So
That's
long-winded
amazing.
answer, but that's how we got here. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that, something along the lines of, like, being dumb of just, like, moving everything from your home to you're relocating, and I don't see that as dumb at all. I think a lot of people, especially when you're goal oriented and just so, because when I heard you talk and even hearing you talk right now, I just see you as like a goal getter and going after what you want and strong work ethics and just like somebody that everybody would want on their team. So I think like naturally I feel like if I was your mom, I'd be like, "Yeah, like, I see that," and so I don't see that as dumb at all, I think even if I was in your position, I would have done the same thing, but I think I think I'm coming in as a mom, but I feel like everything always just works out how they're
Yeah,
supposed to be,
absolutely.
and, so you had a little bit of your journey wasn't all straight and narrow, but nobody's journey is straight and narrow,
Right,
but it
right.
got you
Well,
here.
and I think when I mentioned and dumb, I use the word dumb, but I think what I meant was just like so I'm first generation college grad, right? So no one in my family had done this before, and no one in my family had any idea of what obviously we see the commentators and the reporters on TV, but like we don't know how to navigate that, right? So like I would say more unexperienced, right? So I didn't have anyone
Mhm,
to be like, pump the brakes, girl, this is just an internship, right? Or, hey, this is how it happens, right? Not everybody has the same experience in terms of landing a job correctly. So I wouldn't say dumb, that's not a good word, but I would say just inexperienced, right? So I was just to get started and to get working. To your point, I've always been taught to be a hard worker and again, like I think kids, especially with social media and all the things and my having people like myself speak on their experience, kids today now can be like, "Oh, yeah, that's normal." But for me at the time, like TikTok and all that stuff hadn't popped off and Instagram stories hadn't popped off, right? So like I'm just going based off of what I was told at kindergarten. You go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you're gonna land a job. So that's just what I was expecting. But again, I'm thankful for I talk about that time, but I'm so grateful for that time. Um, because I think that I wouldn't have if I would have and I think that's part of the problem too, is like I got everything that I worked for, I got up until that point. So this was the first time that I'm like, "Wait, whoa, I did my job, I worked hard, where's my reward?" Um, so this was the first time I had that problem or experience. But like I said, if I didn't have that, I would not be as appreciative as I am now, for even just the smallest things, right? Like this is what I want to do. And maybe it's not exactly what I wanted to do. I'm in operations and before I went to school and I thought I was gonna be on TV. But I'm just so grateful that it all worked out that way. I'm grateful that, I they didn't take me back after the internship because I don't know that I would have not been in this position right that I am in today.
mhm.
Right. So like it all happens for a reason, like you mentioned. Um, so yeah, that's a long winded way of saying that.
I mean, I love your story, and not too long ago, I was talking to my daughter. My internship, speaking of internships, was in high school, and I took that internship at a record label, because all my friends were getting out of high school early, and they were working or whatever reason to get out of school early, and I was like, "I need to get out of school early. My friends are gone. I don't have a job," and not like no retail was hiring me, so I got in touch with this internship at a record label and very naive and like you said, unexperienced. And my parents didn't graduate from college either. So it was like I always call myself the guinea pig child,
Yep. Same.
the experimental child. And so but had I known um had I had someone mentor me and guide me and lead me along the way, I would have gone full throttle in the music industry. But I was young and naive. I did 4 years there. I was exposed to MTV, Terra, like all the things at 17, 18 years old. Um, it did pave my way in marketing, which and PR, which I'm so appreciative of. Um, but had I had, like you said, the experience or someone just guiding me, I probably would have gone a little bit further in the music industry, which I think would have kind of been neat and something that I probably would have been really interested in, but it still all worked out. So, if there's any parents listening and you don't know the way, find somebody that knows the way that can like guide you in parenting or your child.
Yeah.
Because I think that's very important. And it to me, even as a parent, if I don't know the answers, I have no pride. I will seek and find anybody that can pour into my kid. If I don't have that wisdom and knowledge, I will help figure that out for her. So that way she can live her life to the best potential she can. Um, so Victory Lane looks like pure celebration on TV, but as you said, controlled chaos.
Mhm.
So give a little bit of, if you can give a little bit of insight of your, and I know as like a, I've done events like project managing, so I know there's like a lot of behind the
You're right.
scenes and pre-planning for
Yeah.
a year or whatever. So can you give us insight of not just the day? 'Cause the day I feel like is like the fun, everything happens, but then there's like so much that leads up to that too.
Yeah.
So can you share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think I mentioned in San Diego, there's a team of 3 of us, and, the NASCAR season is quite long. It's even longer than the baseball season. So 38 races. There's only 3 of us that divide it up,
Wow.
in terms of travel. And so, the preparation really starts. I mean, the season ends in November, and we're already talking about, our first race that's in February, right? And even before November, we're talking about our first race in February because that's Daytona 500, and that's our biggest event. So really our planning on our side, happens anywhere from, 4 to 8 weeks. And really 4 is too late. So I would say 8 to 12 weeks out in advance. You're prepping with that racetrack, and planning all of the nitty-gritty things, right? So, where's the national anthem? Where's the pre-race stage? How are the cars gridded on pit road? Are we gonna have them single file? Are we gonna have them angled? Are they gonna be split between, pit stall 1 and then pit stall 20? And because we got to factor in how the fans flow in between those race cars, and we work on TV, and like, what time does the national anthem need to be? What time does the invocation needs to take place? What time is the command? The command's going to be here. Where are the camera shots? Um, Everything to signage. Our team's responsible for, all of our NASCAR sanctioning body signage you see at the racetrack. We are responsible for telling the tracks they have to run that each week and paint that on the ball field, or have it vinyled on the track wall. So really, it's a lot that goes into it. People are surprised with how long our days are. So we are on the competition side, and we have to be checking all of the sponsors on each level series decals on the cars. So sponsors. So we're going. So if the garage opens at 6 a.m., I'm there at 5. So I have to be there when the O'Reilly Series garage, the Cup Series garage, they all open, and we're going through and checking every single car in that garage, and then going and putting that to a system. And if there's an issue with the vehicle in terms of sponsorship or decals not really the right way, like we're responsible for telling that team to get that fixed if they can at that point in the day. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. We give pace car rides as well. Um, but yeah, it's a lot. People only really see the victory lane aspect of it, and then I totally get that. I think that I counted 3, and like I said in San Diego, yell at grown for what hat to wear. But really, once I get to that point, my weekend's done, really, right? And there's the weekend's long, and so we have the truck series and we have the rally series. So I've done 3 victory lanes, 2 victory lanes prior to the one on Sunday. But essentially, if I get the victory lane, my day's done. But yeah, victory lane is I would say, another baby job within the job, because it is control chaos, as you mentioned. I Our team is really the middleman for all of it. We know that everybody needs something from Victory Lane, but they need something different, and we're the one constant each week, because obviously there's different personnel at each racetrack, right? So that's also part of the struggle with the job, is just learning how to navigate the different personalities, and because we do the same thing each week, but that racetrack in San Diego only raced that one time, right? So we're having to communicate what we need from the racetracks, and they're hearing it for the first time, right? So, but yes, once we get to victory lane, it is control chaos. We're dealing with the team who just won, and they're super excited. The driver just won. Excited. Um, um, so you're fine. You're fine. No, you're totally fine. The driver's super excited. So you have obligations for the team. The team also has things that they need to take care of, right? They need to have love and give love to their sponsors. They have sponsored guests that come in for photos, but also photographers have things that they need, and they might be shooting different things. There might be you think there's one photographer. There's probably a good anywhere from like I would say 5 to 8, maybe 10, depending on the weekend, photographers, and they all need different. You might have someone that's just shooting for a Chevy or Toyota or Ford. You may have someone shooting for the team. You may have someone shooting for that driver or the racetrack. Um, and so we're there to kind of keep the run of show flowing. And like I said, we know what everyone needs. There's TV interviews that need to take place. There's photos. There's trophies. There's all the things. Parking the car. You name it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's just a lot that goes into it, but, it's fun. I enjoy it. I've enjoyed my time. It's been really cool to have that relationship with the drivers and their families just because you over the course of the years, you become, you see them all the time, right? So, it's been cool to see them outside of their go mode, right? And just they've won, family, they're embracing it all. So yeah, that's been a really, really, pivotal part in my career here in NASCAR is being a part of victory lane and getting to deal with all the different entities that take on there. So
That's amazing, and sorry about that little cough
no,
attack. I just had
oh,
I just had out of nowhere. I was like, "Oh my gosh." But I wanna hear your first day on the job. What
oh
was that
god,
like? Did you feel, like, intimidated, or did you feel, just meeting all of these people, and then you're the person that's has this responsibility of even dictating of, like, not dictating, but telling them if a sponsor logo is off, like, and you're the new person because at any job, no matter what it is, you're the newbie, and I always feel like you have to not I don't ever feel like I owe anybody to of okay, like to prove I'm worthy of this position. But I know that there's sometimes some people that are like, who is this girl?
yeah, yeah.
or or there's people that are so receptive and welcoming to you. But being in this male dominant industry, what was your first day in this position?
Yeah, so I'll say the first day, like, at the track, right?
Hmm.
So I mentioned our first race was our biggest race, the Daytona 500. Um, Luckily or unlucky, my first one was 2020, so we were in COVID or 2021, we were still in COVID protocols in 2021. So it was a little bit dialed back in terms of
Okay.
we're still wearing masks outside and we're trying to get back to full capacity, but we're not at really full capacity. It's just still really weird.
Hmm.
Uh, but and blessing in disguise that allowed me to kind of like digest it a little bit better because it wasn't just so full on in my
In your
face. It
face. Yeah.
was, but it wasn't like what it is right now today, right? Because it was just a little bit dialed back. But it was insane, like to start your career. The biggest race of the year is your first one. And I remember I had one job. We have these ride around trucks, as we call them. So the drivers, after they get introduced on the stage at certain events, they will get into a flatbed or truck. They'll get into the cab of it or the back of it, the tailgate of it, and they'll ride around and do a lap around the racetrack to kind of wave to the fans and also give sponsor play to our OEM for the weekend. So Chevy, Ford, Toyota. Um, and my one task at that moment, my only task of that day really was to help load the drivers into the bed of the trucks. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go kill it. I'm gonna be the best person that loads these trucks or load the drivers in the trucks. And I remember I was trying to be quick and I yanked the tailgate down I'm thinking like an old school truck, right? So I'm like grabbing the handle, yanking it down. Mind you, it's not an old truck, it's a very new truck. And the new trucks, you have to have the truck in park and then press the button and then the tailgate lets down. I did not know that. So like I like jammed my thumb, injured, and I remember like, and I could tell that I hurt myself, but I'm like not trying to cry. I'm not trying to tell anybody. I'm trying to just get through it all. And so then yeah, at this point, we're still early on in the pre-race ceremonies. We still have to do the national anthem and pray, give the command. We do the grand marshal cars, and then we can go back to our office and kind of regroup. So I mean, anywhere from probably 30 to 45 minutes that those two transpire. So I remember like wanting to cry internally, but I then had to tell my boss, like, "Hey, I gotta go to infant care center. Like, I need a." So I ended up having to get a splint in my first year.
Oh my
Super
gosh.
embarrassing. Um, but yeah, that was embarrassing, but it was a lot. To your point, that it's just a lot to digest in general. But then you throw someone new into our biggest race of the year. It was just a lot to take on, and really for our side of things, like it really takes a full season because each track's different. Obviously, you got different personalities track. So just learning who you go to, who you don't go to for this, how the tracks operate, how we operate, what even traveling was like. Wasn't even well traveled before I got this job. I think I'd been on a plane maybe twice, and now I can be on a plane twice in like a couple of days. So like, so it was just a lot to digest for me. And then like used to being in Gainesville, and I moved to Daytona Beach. And so it was just a lot to digest. And I think that's the same for anybody starting anywhere new. But I think in terms of our job, there's our job, and then there's our day job, and then there's travel. So we'll be like we like to call it. Um so yeah, that was a lot. It was a lot for sure.
And speaking of traveling, you shared you travel 20 to 25 races per season
Yes.
and often work 12 to 16-hour days. So how do you sustain that kind of schedule?
I'm still working on that. I don't know. I still trying to figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still like I said, I still have my weeks where I'm like, this is just really tough, but you just figure it out. I am a very routine person, which is good, but then it also is bad because like I'm having to leave my house and live out of a suitcase for the majority of the year. But no, I mean this is season 6 for me, so I think just at this point it's just repetition. Like I said, you're going to lose something, right? So like, yeah, I'm maybe killing it at work and I'm on the road and I'm doing what I want to be doing, but at the same time, like I hardly see my family, or I hardly see my dog that I got prior to getting the job, or I, have to eat like crap because I did make it in Publix, this week. And so there's a balance, and I think we're all very much still trying to find that balance. But I think what works for you, you just got to figure that out. For me, I'm a person that like I am very much so introverted, extroverted, if that's even really a thing. I am very much happy-go-lucky and outgoing and outspoken and all the things over the course of the weekend. Um, but once that weekend's done, I need to like go back and recharge, and I need to go sit on the couch and not talk to anybody. Now, I'll have a couple weekends in a row, so sometimes I don't always get that recharge, but after I have that stint of travel, I need to go back home and just sit.
And kind
That's
of
really
just
what it was.
unwind.
Unwind, like,
Yeah.
not talk to anybody, sit on the couch, watch reality TV, get back, to getting groceries, and even if it's for just, like, 3 days of that weekend, that's what helps me. Again, there's weekends that it's just not possible, but, um, outside of that, I mean, I don't really have any tips because, again, I think we're all still very much figuring it out. Everybody's very different, so.
Do you at least have, like, a half a day or wherever you're at, like, just to
Um,
I don't know, like, just do nothing or I guess go and get coffee, enjoy a
while
coffee.
traveling is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Sure, I would yes and no. So typically we travel on Thursdays, and more times than not, we do have to go to the racetrack on Thursday, even if it works a
Mhm.
little bit. But coming from Daytona, the flight options are not, it's not a big city, right? So like I'm having to connect in Atlanta and then get to where I'm going. So if I'm the only one going that weekend, I need to make sure I actually get there, right? So I'm usually taking a 6 a.m., which means I've been up since 3:30 or something to make the 6, go to Atlanta for an hour at minimum, and then go on to the next place. So it's just a really long day. Plus, you make it to the racetrack. And then, yeah, I would say Thursdays are probably our day to like go get a dinner. That's not fast food if you really want to, depending where you're at. But yeah, outside of that, it's I'm at the racetrack and everyone's like,
Just
"Oh,
work, work,
you're
work. Yeah.
traveling to see the world." I'm like, "Not really." And like there's I think we have the ability to, if you really wanted to stay an extra day or go an extra day early to somewhere, like I think you could. I did that last year for Sonoma and Napa. Um, but I mean, more times than not, you don't really have one, the time, and two, you don't want to, right? You want to. That's the day that you could be at
Wanna
home.
be home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's. I would say more times than not, you're at the racetrack than you are the hotel or sightseeing. There's not really much. I see this. The only sightseeing I see is from the hotel to the racetrack for the most part. So
Which I don't blame you given what you just shared. Yeah, you just wanna go home, or if you do have downtime while you're out, you just wanna probably sleep
yeah,
and
yeah, and a nice meal, right? Like I do enjoy. Like I said, Thursdays I would say are the day that I could, depending on the market that you're in. I would just try to go at least get a dinner, that's not, um, Chipotle or not chicken
yeah, definitely not.
or burger to death. I get that keeps me
Yeah, but
uh,
to make you sustainable for
yeah,
that
yeah, so
for that time,
it
yeah,
depends on the
definitely
market.
something healthy,
Y
protein.
Yeah, depends on the market. There's some markets that like, "No, you're eating this McDonald's, and that's what you're gonna have," and, it just depends on where you're at that weekend.
That makes sense. So, what's one thing you wish fans understood about the massive effort that goes into making race weekends like seamless to make it seamless?
That's a great question. I think the biggest thing is, we have great fans. Our fans are very loyal. They're very, vocal, as I'm sure most sports leagues are. But our fans are one of a kind. You know, they've been around for a really long time. And they've seen the sport change over the course of, you know, their entire life, right? So they become vocal. But I think the biggest thing that I would like for them to understand is that everybody needs something, right? Everybody has a goal they're trying to achieve, and yes, we may be on a streaming service, right, for some races of the season, but and you may not have that. You may not want to download Prime or whatever it is, right? But yet Prime is really huge, right? Like that's a lot of viewers on that, a lot of eyes, a lot of different eyes on that. Um, so that I think I would love for our fans to look at the bigger picture and not just like what they know from 1985, right? Uh, but again, I what we did in 1985 is like that's who made us, right? And not I'm just that's a random number, but those fans that they're still here today that's what keeps us going, and that's what makes us different. But I do think everyone people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes and what has to go on to keep the lights on and to keep those races going. And there's people that you know may be vocal about us racing in Chicago or San Diego or other places or Mexico because they prefer, well,
Traditional.
traditional, right? The traditional tracks, and I love our traditional tracks. I Those are some of our best markets and our best fans and our best racing. But we also need to think about the future and getting new eyes and reaching new audiences. And so, doing different markets or reaching different markets like a Mexico, a San Diego, a Chicago, and so far on, like that's what's going to allow us to draw in new fans and to keep us relevant, in my opinion. So, just again, it's a long answer, but just would love for them to sometimes just not think about.
Tunnel vision, yeah, which I get, and I think anybody, whether it's sports or anything, they just get stuck in that tunnel
Oh, yeah.
vision of it's like what they're accustomed to. They don't like change.
Yeah.
Nobody likes
I
change,
don't
no
know.
matter what it is.
Hate change.
Their
Yeah.
personal life, sports
Yeah.
life, they don't like change, and I get it. Like my husband and I are big baseball people, and we love the Dodgers. So, but we love sports in general. We have a deep respect. I have a deep respect just for athletes in general because I love the grittiness. I love the determination. I love I just I love the mental capacity of athlete because they go through all of these mental hurdles, like aside from the physical part, they go through all of these mental challenges just to continue to be their best. And every single game, meet, track, right, whatever it is that they're doing, they have to be at their A game, and there's no off time for that. Even in the off season, they're still getting better and better. So I have such appreciation. That's why I love sports, just because I love the behind of the athlete, and then when with people like you who are putting these things together, there's so much of stories behind these people. There's so much determination and so just like an athlete, just to put these events on together. So that's why I love sports, just because I have a deep appreciation for that. What do you say to young women and men who are in college or about to go to college and they want to pursue anything in sports? What would you tell them?
I think the biggest thing for me, I always tell everyone like, don't put yourself in a box. Like I did that, and not saying that I did it right or not right or however you want to look at it, but I put myself in a box, and so I was only applying to reporting, digital media, on like things of that nature. When in reality, if I would have looked at a ticketing or something just to get my foot in the door, I would have maybe been in the door sooner than what I thought, or than I ended up being in the door, if that makes sense, right? So I just feel like, don't be afraid to do something different. But in reality, after a year and a half, 2 years passed, I ended up doing something different, and I'm still here, and I enjoy it. I enjoy my family that I have here in NASCAR. Um, and then so you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised if you're good at it. You'll be surprised if you like it. You'll be surprised if you know this is something that you want to continue to pursue. So I would just say like, if things aren't working out the way you want them, pivot. You can always go back, especially once you're in the door, right? Like when you do sports, and I'm sure it's there like that anywhere, but sports. So once you get in the door, you're in. You work hard, you show up, you're determined, you're on time, you're motivated, you're in the door. Then you can go back to what you were maybe trying to get. And honestly, once you're in the door, you may realize, actually, no, I don't want to do that. So
Or I want to do what they're doing.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
I would say, don't put yourself in a box. And again, definitely go after your dreams. Like, don't change that. But if your goal is not working out, it may be for a reason. And for me, that's just based off of experience. For me, my goal did not work out. But when I stepped outside of my goal, I'm I'm in year 6 here with the NASCAR, right? So doing something different, and really I have no complaints other than my lack of sleep. So um yeah, no, I think that's probably the biggest thing. And I think, but again, I think in today's world, I think kids graduating high school and college can see that more. They can see the representation more, can see examples of that more than what, we had um, at that time, which is just insane to think about. But it's just different now. So they probably do know that versus when I was graduating.
yeah. And um this is such a silly question, but what shoes do you wear when you're? Because I would have to imagine they have to be the most comfortable shoes when you're out on these race days.
That's a great question. I laugh. I laugh because everyone that knows me at the racetrack knows that I'm wearing Nike. There's nothing
Okay.
on me that's not Nike. Um, I've
No
just been
specific one or
well,
just anything?
I
Oh,
prefer
okay.
I prefer a lighter shoe, so nothing
Okay.
more of a running shoe or training shoe. Um, but everyone knows that I am usually head to toe in Nike. That is the same right now today.
Oh, there you
Just
go.
just for but yeah, everyone knows me. Like that's how they define me at the racetrack is the girl, and normally on a Sunday for sure in all black, black Nike hat, black Nike quarter zip. I got black Nike pants on, and I got black Nike shoes on. And if they really want to
I
know, I
like
got black Nike socks on. Uh,
Oh, there you
so
go.
yeah, still don't want from Nike. I still have yet to hear. I've yet to get a phone call from Nike.
I
I've
mean,
yet. I
hello.
have yet
We
to receive
need a
them from Nike.
sponsorship here.
I've got a slogan and everything. Like they say
Oh
just
my
do it.
gosh.
They deal with
Okay,
winners.
hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
I'm gonna tag Nike.
Please. Here's the thing. I don't even need to be like sponsored. Just send me like some boxes over
Yeah,
the course of.
the new tennis shoes, you'll wear them on race day.
I already do for free. So but yeah, everyone. I laugh because everyone knows like that's Darwin. She's wearing Nike. So
I love that. I love a true that's like
loyal.
that reminds because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't do that anymore. They mix the brands,
Amazing.
which It's fine, like, you do you, but I prefer if you can just, like, stick with one
Right.
brand and ma
When it
it's just like it's a good '90s feel, maybe that's kind of where I'm coming from,
millennial,
like, the
yeah,
'90s
yeah,
era.
yeah,
Everybody, like, head to toe, just one brand.
yeah, and I think when it comes to, like, you know, casual wear, like, you're going out to dinner, of course, you're gonna be wearing different things, right?
Of course,
But
yeah.
when it comes to athleisure of some sort or work, like, I just feel like I'm not gonna mix match, and I'm just loyal, and my choice has always just been Nike. I'm just waiting for a phone call one day, so
Hey, I love it. That's a true and classic uniform that I would totally wear myself.
if you need to find me at the racetrack on TV, just look for the girl in all black wearing the Nike hat.
I'm gonna call her the Naked Girl.
True. Yeah.
So, in closing, for looking ahead, what are you most excited for with the future of NASCAR?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm always excited. I mean, NASCAR, I mean, I feel like like I said, I'm loyal and I am a person of tradition. I really am. And I think the sport is obviously. Um, so I appreciate that. I appreciate the family aspect of our sport. We're constantly growing. We're constantly reaching new demographics and new viewers and new fans and new markets. So I'm just super excited to be a part of that. I'm excited, and I think we do a great job of, like I said, still highlighting those, traditional moments, right? Darlington Raceway, Martinsville, Talladega, like all of those traditional markets, traditional fans, and we're very much involved and try to keep our Hall of Famers involved with our sport today, with our current drivers. Um, but I'm just super excited to see where we take it, and because even though we're gonna take it so much further, we're still gonna be home, right? We're still gonna be true to who we are. We are not like any other sport. That is not a dig on any other motorsports. But I do truly think that we are the best in the sense of we bring great racing. We bring really fast cars. We bring aggressive racing. We're not just standing or not racing nose to tail all day, and then we have a fight. We are bumping and banging, and that's what makes NASCAR NASCAR, and that's what our fans love. So I'm excited to be a part of the growth, but I was also, I'm super proud that we're able to still pay homage to what it got us here. And, as a fan growing up watching, and to be a part of it today and to still see that we're reaching so much further is really super exciting. So
I love that, and I think NASCAR is a true testament of somehow combining just tradition and what you guys are classically known for, but then also moving forward with that. That's not easy to do, and, you guys tastefully and just organically do that, so hats off to you guys and all of you guys who orchestrate and plan that together because that's no easy task.
yeah, everyone
Uh
everyone has an opinion, right? Everyone wants something. Everyone has a need, and everyone has a view of what they think it should be. So just trying to navigate that and just trying to, maybe we can't make everybody happy, but we made 9 of those 10 people happy, right? So, like, that is 1, like, to your point, not easy, but 2, I'm just super excited and super proud and honored, to be a part of that.
And then one last question. Have you been in a car, like, in any of the race cars where they're just going at full speed? I
Uh,
don't even know the terminology to say that, but
no, I have not been I don't trying to think back. I have not been in our actual race car at speed, but I have driven not a race car, but one of our, like I said, pace cars, um, at speed, and that's always fun. So,
can
um
you explain that? Is that like would that be like for us normal people, not normal people, but like everyday people of going on a roller coaster and
Yeah.
you're just getting this okay,
Yes.
and it's
So, trying to think of the racetrack that you would probably feel the most. Um, I would say Daytona, Talladega, those are really high banked. That means that it's just it's really tall, right? The incline of the racetrack is really high. So those tracks, I don't. What's interesting is fun fact. I'm not really well versed in physics and all the things, but the driver. doesn't feel the G-force. I don't and maybe they do obviously, the race car drivers do. Me going the 100 miles an hour, I'm going not that fast compared to a race car driver. The drivers feel it. In me driving car, I don't feel it, but my passenger is screaming, right? Because they feel they're getting sunk into the seat. They're not I don't know what it is, but maybe it's 'cause they're not holding
Is it more because 'cause you're in control and
maybe.
you're mentally
I'm
you're
prepared for it, maybe.
doing it? Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, my favorite part about giving pace car rides is, obviously, like, I become numb to this. I'm doing it all the time. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just driving the racetrack. But for them, they're like screaming. I had a girl cry. Oh my gosh, they can feel the G's in their stomach. And I'm trying to think which racetracks would give the most. But yeah, the Daytona and Talladega, those are our biggest ones, most bank. Um, but then the short tracks too are really fun because you can really gas it and then you have to brake hard into the turn, and so that gives a thrill too. So yeah, I personally enjoy giving rides. That's probably, I call it one of my the Sunday mornings are typically when it happens, so I call it my Sunday morning coffee. I don't at that point, I just need to go out there and drive for a little bit, and then I'm good.
I love that.
Yeah,
Sunday morning coffee is perfect.
yeah, yeah.
You're wide awake.
Yes, 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 especially
And
when
then
people are screaming in your ear, so
okay, so my last
yeah,
question, just because you brought up the incline, I that made me think of on social media, there's videos where people try to walk it. Have you ever done that? And is it really that difficult?
yeah, shout
The
out to our social
yeah.
team, yeah, they do that a lot. Yes, that's you see them struggling and it's hard, so I wanna make sure I get my math right. I wanna say Daytona is 31 degrees banked, so that's 3 stories. So yeah, it's difficult to walk up that. Oh, and
Wow.
you probably have seen people doing Talladega. Um, yeah, very difficult, very
Oh
I
my
think they
gosh,
had
3 stories.
yes.
Just to put into perspective.
Right, and everyone's like, "Well, you're not gonna fall over?" Well, no, like, y no, it does feel like that, so, like and real quick, I know you gotta skedaddle, but, um, so there's the pace car on the pace laps, right, to start the race. There's a pace car in front of the race cars. On those opening laps, there's also the grand marshal cars, and essentially, that's just like a play for the sponsors, play for our, OEM for the weekend, and just like a ceremonial lap for them. It goes in front of the pace car. So we cannot once we leave, we cannot go at speed because everyone's still rolling slowly off of pit road. So
Oh.
at Daytona Talladega, we're having to creep, in a Chevy Equinox or a Toyota RAV4 or a Ford Bronco. We're having to go, 20,
Oh
25,
my god.
30, 35 miles per hour slowly up this incline.
Oh, wow.
And that's where the screams happen because the people in the passenger seat or the back seat, it feels as if you're gonna fall over. My cancer on the steering wheel, to the left. Um, yeah, so that's always fun to have people and they're like, "You're not even scared?" I'm like, "Well, not this is like my 5,000th time doing this, so, and I know we're not gonna fall over." So,
That is okay, so now I have more of a visual whenever I watch hearing that, so
yeah,
that's really cool to
normally,
hear.
the person that says, "Driver, start your engines," they get in the car, and then also some sponsors. So I've met really great people over the course of the years, obviously a lot of celebrities over the time because they've been the one
Mhm.
that given the command, which is "Driver,
Yeah.
start your engines." Um, so yeah, it's been great. It's been cool to say that I've driven on the majority of our racetracks, met a lot of great people. They always wanna talk to me, but at times I'm having to, like, listen to have a radio in my ear.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I have to do my spiel about, like, "I'm not ignoring you," but, it's a good fun. It's fun.
That's so funny. Well, Darwin, thank you so much for just carving a little time out of your day for us. I know the listeners are going to enjoy this episode. And um, where can they follow you on social media? Right.
Yeah. One, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. I'm super grateful that we got to meet in San Diego. Shout out to Wise in San
Yeah.
Diego. I really enjoyed that evening. Um, but yeah, I laugh because the my Instagram has become kind of funny over the course of the years because I do these little like um behind the scenes Instagram stories of the course of the weekend over the course of the weekend, so everyone, like, looks forward to them within the industry, and some of the you wouldn't get because 'cause you're not there, but, like, a lot of people that are in the industry get it, and, it becomes like a little, it's become a job for me, but to everyone else, it's become fun and a nice little, like, behind the scenes look at the drivers or the racetracks or different personalities around the track. So, my Instagram is just my name, Darwin Patterson, not that hard to find a Darwin on Instagram. I would say that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Um, and I'm probably more, visible on there than anything else, so I would say Instagram for sure.
Okay, well, I hope everybody follows you. And again, thank you so much for being here. And I hope everybody looks for you at the victory lane each series. And I'm going to be rooting for you through your journey and just to see you accomplish and set more goals and conquer more goals.
Well,
So
I
thank you
appreciate
so much, Darwin.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me. It means a lot. Definitely stay in touch, and,
Yes.
like I said, I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.